Hello and welcome. Today we will talk about the Viking Age. Let's start. The Viking Age, spanning from the late 8th century to the early 11th century, marks a period of significant expansion, exploration, and cultural transformation. The Vikings, originating from Scandinavia, modern-day Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, are often remembered for their fearsome raids, but their legacy extends far beyond piracy and plunder. This era witnessed the transformation of the Vikings from marauders to settlers, traders, and explorers who left a lasting impact on Europe and beyond. The Viking Age began in the late 8th century, often dated to 793 AD with the infamous raid on the Lindisfarne Monastery. This event is frequently cited as the start of the Viking Age, a period characterized by the Norse seafarers' expansionist activities. However, the roots of Viking society and their eventual forays into Europe and beyond were shaped by the unique social, economic, and environmental conditions of Scandinavia. Scandinavian roots. The Vikings emerged from the rugged landscapes of Scandinavia, a region characterized by its fjords, forests, and harsh climates. The challenging environment shaped the Viking way of life, fostering a culture of resilience, seafaring prowess, and a strong warrior ethos. The Scandinavian peninsula, with its limited arable land and long, harsh winters, pushed its inhabitants to seek resources beyond their shores. This need for resources and land played a crucial role in the Vikings' motivation to explore and raid foreign lands. Social structure. Viking society was hierarchical, with a clear division between the nobility, jarls, free farmers and warriors, carls, and slaves, thralls. The social structure was underpinned by a complex web of kinship, loyalty, and honor, which played a crucial role in Viking life and governance. Jarls were the ruling elite, often landowners and chieftains who led their communities in both war and peace. Carls, the freemen, made up the majority of the population, engaging in farming, trading, and raiding. Thralls, on the other hand, were slaves captured during raids or born into slavery, and they performed the most labor-intensive tasks in Viking society. Daily life. Life in Viking society revolved around the farmstead, which was the basic unit of social and economic life. The typical Viking farm consisted of a longhouse where the family lived and various outbuildings for storage and livestock. The longhouse was a large, rectangular building with a thatched or turf roof, built from wood and stone. Inside, it was divided into sections for sleeping, cooking, and storage. The hearth was the central feature of the longhouse, providing warmth and a place to cook. Gender roles. In Viking society, gender roles were clearly defined but allowed for considerable flexibility. Men were typically involved in farming, trading, and raiding, while women managed the household, including cooking, weaving, and raising children. However, women in Viking society could also own property, request a divorce, and engage in trade. Some women, known as shield maidens, even participated in warfare, although their historical existence is still debated among scholars. Religion and mythology. Viking religion was polytheistic, with a pantheon of gods and goddesses who governed various aspects of life and nature. The chief god was Odin, the All-Father, who was associated with wisdom, war, and death. Thor, the god of thunder, was another prominent deity, revered for his strength and protection against giants. Freya, the goddess of love, fertility, and war, was also highly venerated. The Vikings believed in an afterlife, with Valhalla being the hall of the slain warriors who were chosen by Odin to fight by his side in the final battle of Ragnarok. Rituals and festivals. Viking religious practices included rituals, sacrifices, and festivals to honor the gods and seek their favor. The most important festivals were Yule, celebrated at the winter solstice, and the Midsummer Festival, which marked the summer solstice. These festivals involved feasting, drinking, and various ceremonies to ensure the fertility of the land and the protection of the community. Seafaring and navigation. The Vikings' seafaring capabilities were central to their expansion. Their advanced seafaring technology, particularly the longship, allowed them to travel vast distances and conduct their infamous raids. The longship was a marvel of naval engineering, with its shallow draft enabling it to navigate both open seas and shallow rivers. Its symmetrical design allowed for swift changes in direction, crucial for both attacking and retreating. Vikings were also skilled navigators, using the sun, stars, and landmarks to chart their courses. Their seafaring expertise enabled them to venture far beyond their homelands, reaching as far as North America, the Mediterranean, and the Caspian Sea. The sunstone, a crystal used to locate the sun on cloudy days, and the practice of using migratory bird patterns are just a few examples of their navigation techniques. Early raids. The Viking Age is often said to have begun with the raid on the monastery of Lindisfarne in 793 AD. This brutal attack on a holy site shocked the Christian world and heralded the start of Viking incursions into Europe. The monks of Lindisfarne were slaughtered or taken as slaves, and the riches of the monastery were looted, marking a stark beginning to a period of terror for European coastal communities. Tactics and strategies. Early Viking raids were characterized by their speed, surprise, and ferocity. The Vikings targeted coastal towns, monasteries, and villages, exploiting the element of surprise and their superior seafaring abilities to overwhelm their opponents. Their tactics often involved swift attacks at dawn, using the cover of darkness and the mobility of their longships to strike quickly and retreat before local forces could organize a defense. This guerrilla-like warfare instilled fear across Europe, as nowhere near the water was safe from potential Viking raids. Impact of early raids. These early raids had profound effects on Europe. Monasteries, often located in remote coastal areas, became prime targets due to their wealth and lack of defenses. The raids disrupted the relatively peaceful life of medieval Europe, forcing many communities to build defenses and develop strategies to counter the Viking threat. The psychological impact was significant, with the Vikings becoming the stuff of nightmares, their very name evoking fear and dread. Significant raids. Raid on Lindisfarne, 793 AD. The raid on Lindisfarne, a monastery off the coast of Northumbria, is often considered the beginning of the Viking Age. The attack was particularly shocking due to its brutality and the desecration of a religious site. It marked the first of many Viking raids that would terrorize the British Isles. Siege of Paris, 845 AD. Led by the legendary Viking chieftain Ragnar Lothbrok, the Siege of Paris demonstrated the Vikings' ability to conduct large-scale operations. Ragnar sailed up the Seine River with a fleet of 120 ships, capturing the city and securing a hefty ransom from the Frankish King Charles the Bold. Raids in the Mediterranean. The Vikings also ventured into the Mediterranean, conducting raids on the coasts of Italy, Spain, and even North Africa. These raids extended the Vikings' reach and demonstrated their maritime prowess. The raid on the Italian city of Luna in 860 AD, led by the Viking chieftain Hastion, is a notable example of their Mediterranean exploits. Expansion and settlement. As the Viking Age progressed, the nature of Viking activities evolved. Initially known for their destructive raids, the Vikings began to establish settlements, trade networks, and political influence across Europe. Expansion into the British Isles. The British Isles were among the earliest and most frequently targeted regions. The Vikings established a significant presence, particularly in England, Ireland, and Scotland. Danelaw. One of the most significant areas of Viking settlement was in England, where they established the Danelaw, a region under Viking control. The Treaty of Wedmore in 878 AD, following King Alfred the Great's victory, marked the division of England, with the north and east under Viking rule. The Danelaw was characterized by its own laws and customs, distinct from those of Anglo-Saxon England, and it became a region where Norse culture and language mixed with local traditions. York, Jorvik. The city of York, known as Jorvik to the Vikings, became a major center of trade and culture. The Vikings transformed York into a bustling urban center, blending Norse and Anglo-Saxon cultures. Archaeological excavations in York have revealed a wealth of artifacts from the Viking period, including jewelry, tools, and everyday items, providing a glimpse into the life of its inhabitants. Settlements in Ireland and Scotland. Dublin. In Ireland, the Vikings founded the city of Dublin, which became a significant trading hub. Dublin and other Viking settlements in Ireland served as bases for further expeditions and played a crucial role in the local economy. The Vikings in Ireland established powerful dynasties that influenced the political landscape for centuries. Orkney and Shetland Islands. The Vikings also established strongholds in the Orkney and Shetland Islands, integrating with the local populations and influencing the cultural landscape of these regions. The Norse influence in these islands remains evident today, particularly in place names and cultural traditions. Western Europe and beyond. Normandy. In 911 AD, Viking leader Rollo was granted land by the French King Charles the Simple, leading to the establishment of Normandy. The Vikings in Normandy, known as Normans, assimilated into French culture while retaining their martial prowess. The Normans would later play a crucial role in European history, most notably with William the Conqueror's conquest of England in 1066. Iceland and Greenland. The Vikings were also pioneers of transatlantic exploration. They settled Iceland around 874 AD, creating a unique Norse culture. From Iceland, they ventured further west, establishing settlements in Greenland, led by Eric the Red. The harsh conditions of Greenland required great resilience and adaptability, and the Norse settlers managed to carve out a life in this unforgiving environment. Finland and North America. The Vikings reached North America around the year 1000 AD, led by Leif Erikson. The settlement known as Vinland, identified with sites like Lance Aux Meadows in Newfoundland, marks the Vikings' farthest reach westward. Though the settlement was short-lived, it stands as a testament to Viking exploration and their ability to navigate the vast Atlantic Ocean. Trade and commerce. The Vikings were not just warriors, but also skilled traders. They established extensive trade networks, connecting the Baltic, North Sea, and beyond. They traded goods such as furs, amber, silver, and slaves, facilitating cultural and economic exchange. Trading networks. The Viking trading networks were vast, reaching from the Middle East to the North Atlantic. They traded a wide variety of goods, including furs from the north, amber from the Baltic, and silver from the Middle East. These trade networks facilitated not only the exchange of goods, but also ideas and cultures. Markets and towns. Viking towns like Hedeby and Birka became important trading centers where merchants from various regions converged. These towns were bustling with activity, showcasing the Vikings' role in medieval commerce. The archaeological remains of these towns provide valuable insights into Viking trade practices and daily life. Cultural impact and legacy. The Vikings left a profound cultural legacy that extended far beyond their lifetimes. Their influence can be seen in various aspects of modern life, from language and law to mythology and the arts. Language and law. Old Norse influence. The Vikings' language, Old Norse, left a lasting impact on the English language, particularly in regions under Viking control. Many English words, especially those related to seafaring, trade, and everyday life, have Old Norse origins. Words like sky, egg, and knife are just a few examples of this linguistic influence. Legal systems. The Vikings had a sophisticated legal system based on assemblies known as things. These assemblies were democratic forums where free men could debate and decide on legal matters. The influence of Viking legal traditions can still be seen in the parliamentary systems of modern Scandinavian countries. Mythology and religion. Norse mythology. The rich tapestry of Norse mythology, with gods like Odin, Thor, and Loki, continues to captivate the modern imagination. These myths were passed down through oral tradition and later written in texts like the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda. The tales of heroism, adventure, and cosmic battles have left a lasting legacy in literature, art, and popular culture. Conversion to Christianity. Over time, many Vikings converted to Christianity, blending their pagan beliefs with the new religion. This syncretism is evident in archaeological finds, such as crosses with runic inscriptions and Christian symbols combined with traditional Norse motifs. The conversion process was gradual and varied across different regions, influenced by both missionary efforts and political alliances. Art and architecture. Viking art. Viking art is renowned for its intricate designs, often featuring interlacing patterns, animal motifs, and mythological scenes. This artistic style is evident in surviving artifacts such as jewelry, weapons, and ship carvings. The Oseberg ship, with its elaborately carved prow, is a prime example of the Vikings' artistic skill. Longhouses and ships. Viking architecture included distinctive longhouses, which served as communal living spaces. These longhouses were constructed using wooden beams and thatch, providing shelter and a social hub for the community. Viking shipbuilding techniques, particularly the design of longships, were highly advanced and influenced naval architecture for centuries. Decline and integration. The Viking Age gradually came to an end in the 11th century, as various factors contributed to the decline of Viking power and influence. Political changes. Centralization of power. The consolidation of power in Scandinavian kingdoms, such as the unification of Norway and the establishment of strong monarchies in Denmark and Sweden, led to the decline of the independent Viking chieftains who had spearheaded the earlier raids and expeditions. Centralized authority brought greater stability and reduced the impetus for raiding. Treaties and alliances. Treaties like the Treaty of Widmore and the Treaty of St. Clair-sur-Epte, along with alliances between Viking leaders and European rulers, contributed to the stabilization of regions previously plagued by Viking incursions. These political agreements integrated Viking leaders into the broader European political landscape, reducing the frequency and scale of Viking raids. Economic and social factors. Agricultural advancements. Agricultural advancements and the development of more stable economies in Europe reduced the need for the raiding lifestyle that had characterized the early Viking Age. As European societies became more self-sufficient, the opportunities for Viking raids diminished. Improved agricultural practices led to increased food production and economic stability, making raiding less necessary. Integration and assimilation. Many Vikings settled in the regions they had once raided, integrating into local societies. This assimilation led to a blending of cultures and the gradual disappearance of distinct Viking identities. The descendants of Viking settlers often adopted local customs, languages, and religions, further integrating into the societies they once disrupted. Military defeats. Viking expansion was also curtailed by significant military defeats. The Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066, where the Norwegian King Harald Hardrada was defeated by the English King Harold Godwin's son, marked a significant turning point. This battle, combined with the subsequent Norman invasion of England, signaled the end of large-scale Viking invasions. Legacy and influence. Despite the end of the Viking Age, the legacy of the Vikings endures. Their contributions to exploration, trade, and cultural exchange left a lasting mark on the medieval world and continue to be celebrated in modern times. The Vikings' spirit of adventure, resilience, and innovation continues to inspire and captivate people around the world. The memory of the Vikings is preserved in literature, folklore, and historical studies. Their stories of adventure, resilience, and innovation continue to inspire and captivate people around the world. From their pioneering voyages across the Atlantic to their sophisticated legal systems and vibrant mythology, the Vikings left an indelible mark on the world, shaping the course of history in ways that continue to resonate today. Continued exploration and influence. Viking sagas and literature. The sagas, epic tales written in the 13th century but based on older oral traditions, are invaluable sources of information about the Viking Age. These narratives, such as the Saga of the Greenlanders and the Saga of Eric the Red, provide insights into the voyages to North America and the establishment of colonies in Greenland and Iceland. They also offer glimpses into the social and political structures of Viking society, as well as their beliefs and values. Archaeological discoveries. Archaeological research continues to uncover new information about the Vikings. Excavations of Viking ship burials, settlements, and artifacts across Europe and the North Atlantic have provided a wealth of knowledge about their daily lives, trade networks, and cultural practices. Notable discoveries include the Osberg and Gokstad ships in Norway, which reveal the sophistication of Viking shipbuilding and the wealth of their society. Modern cultural references. The Vikings have left an enduring legacy in modern culture. They have been romanticized and mythologized in literature, film, and television. From the works of Richard Wagner, who drew on Norse mythology for his operas, to modern TV series like Vikings and The Last Kingdom, the fascination with Viking culture and history remains strong. These portrayals, while often dramatized, reflect the enduring impact of the Viking Age on contemporary imagination. Genetic legacy. Modern genetic studies have traced the movements and influences of Viking populations across Europe. DNA evidence shows that the Vikings intermarried with local populations in the regions they settled, contributing to the genetic diversity of contemporary European populations. Studies on ancient Viking remains have also provided insights into their health, diet, and migration patterns. Economic and technological contributions. The Vikings were innovative in many areas, including shipbuilding, metallurgy, and trade. Their longships were technological marvels of their time, allowing for both deep-sea voyages and river navigation. Viking artisans were skilled in metalwork, creating intricate jewelry and weapons. The trade networks they established facilitated the exchange of goods and ideas across vast distances, contributing to the economic and cultural development of medieval Europe. Impact on European history. The Viking incursions had a significant impact on the development of European political and social structures. The need to defend against Viking raids led to the construction of fortifications and the development of early forms of centralized governance. The integration of Viking leaders into European nobility through treaties and marriages helped shape the political landscape of medieval Europe. Final reflections. The Viking Age was a transformative period in European history, marked by significant developments in exploration, settlement, and cultural exchange. The Vikings were not only fearsome warriors, but also skilled navigators, traders, and settlers who left an indelible mark on the world. Their legacy continues to influence contemporary culture, from language and law to art and literature. The spirit of adventure and resilience that characterized the Vikings continues to inspire and captivate people around the world, ensuring that their legacy endures for generations to come. By examining the various aspects of Viking life and their enduring impact, we gain a deeper understanding of how these seafaring warriors from Scandinavia shaped the course of history. Their story is one of exploration, innovation, and cultural exchange, reflecting the complexities and dynamism of the medieval world. Now, let's delve into the most important battles and leaders of the Vikings. Significant Viking battles. Battle of Lindisfarne, 793. The raid on Lindisfarne marks the beginning of the Viking Age. This attack on a remote monastery on the coast of Northumbria was a significant event that shocked the Christian world. The monastery was a center of learning and religious activity, and its sacking highlighted the vulnerability of coastal settlements to the seafaring Norsemen. The monks of Lindisfarne were slaughtered or taken as slaves, and the monastery's treasures were looted. This raid set a precedent for future Viking attacks on European coastal sites, signaling the start of an era of Norse aggression and exploration. Battle of Edington, 878. One of the most significant battles between the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons, the Battle of Edington saw King Alfred the Great defeat the great heathen army led by the Danish warlord Guthrum. This battle took place after a series of Viking invasions and settlements in England. Alfred's forces, having retreated to the marshes of Somerset, launched a decisive counterattack against the Danes at Edington. The victory led to the Treaty of Wedmore, which required Guthrum to convert to Christianity and establish the Danelaw, a region of England under Viking control. This treaty brought a period of relative peace between the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings. Siege of Paris, 845. Led by the legendary Viking chieftain Ragnar Lothbrok, the Siege of Paris demonstrated the Vikings' ability to conduct large-scale operations deep into continental Europe. Ragnar's fleet of 120 ships sailed up the Seine River, attacking and pillaging along the way. The defenders of Paris, unprepared for the ferocity and scale of the Viking assault, were unable to repel the invaders. The siege culminated in a substantial ransom paid by the Frankish King Charles the Bald to secure the city's safety. This event solidified the Vikings' reputation as formidable warriors and highlighted the need for European kingdoms to develop strategies to defend against Norse incursions. Battle of Maldon, 991. The Battle of Maldon was a significant conflict between the Anglo-Saxons and Viking invaders. The battle occurred near the town of Maldon in Essex, where an Anglo-Saxon force led by Earl Byrhtnoth confronted a Viking army. The battle is particularly noted for the bravery and heroism displayed by the Anglo-Saxons despite their eventual defeat. The Old English poem The Battle of Maldon commemorates this encounter, highlighting themes of loyalty, honor, and the tragic heroism of Byrhtnoth, who allowed the Vikings to cross a causeway to fight on equal ground. The Vikings' victory led to an increased payment of Danegeld, a tribute paid by English kings to Viking raiders to buy peace. Battle of Stamford Bridge, 1066. The Battle of Stamford Bridge marked the end of the Viking Age. Norwegian King Harald Hardrada invaded England with the intention of claiming the English throne. His forces met those of the English King Harold Godwin's son at Stamford Bridge in Yorkshire. The battle was fiercely fought, but the English army ultimately emerged victorious, and Harold Hardrada was killed. This battle symbolized the decline of Viking power and influence in Europe. Just weeks later, Harold Godwin's son faced another invasion by William the Conqueror at the Battle of Hastings, which changed the course of English history. Prominent Viking leaders. Ragnar Lothbrok. A legendary figure in Viking history, Ragnar Lothbrok is known for his raids on France and England. Though much of his story is shrouded in myth, he is often depicted as a fearless warrior and cunning leader. According to the sagas, Ragnar was a king and warrior who undertook numerous daring exploits, including the siege of Paris. His life and adventures have been immortalized in various sagas and popular culture, contributing to the mystique surrounding his character. Ragnar's death, purportedly in a snake pit after being captured by King Ella of Northumbria, is a well-known tale in Viking lore. Harald Fairhair. Harald Fairhair is credited with uniting Norway under his rule, becoming its first king. His consolidation of power marked the beginning of a centralized Norwegian kingdom. According to the sagas, Harald vowed not to cut his hair until he had unified Norway, earning him the epithet Fairhair once he achieved his goal. Harald's ambition and military prowess laid the foundation for future Viking expeditions and the expansion of Norse influence. His reign also saw the establishment of Norwegian control over the Orkney, Shetland, and Faroe Islands. Guthrum. Guthrum was a Danish king and one of the leaders of the Great Heathen Army. After being defeated by King Alfred at the Battle of Edington, he converted to Christianity and adopted the name Ethelstan. Guthrum's conversion and subsequent rule in the Danelaw highlight the complex interactions between the Vikings and the Anglo-Saxons. As a ruler, Guthrum maintained peace with Wessex and sought to integrate his territory within the existing Anglo-Saxon framework. His reign in East Anglia is noted for its relative stability and attempts at fostering a syncretic culture blending Norse and Anglo-Saxon elements. Leif Erikson. Leif Erikson, the son of Eric the Red, is celebrated for his exploration of North America. Around the year 1000, he established a settlement known as Vinland, believed to be in modern-day Newfoundland. Leif's voyages predated those of Christopher Columbus by nearly 500 years, showcasing the Vikings' remarkable seafaring capabilities. According to the sagas, Leif's explorations were inspired by tales of lands to the west told by earlier Norse sailors. Finland was described as a place of abundance, with fertile land and ample resources. Although the settlement was short-lived, Leif's achievements highlight the Vikings' adventurous spirit and their ability to navigate vast distances. Harald Hardrada, known as the Hard Ruler, was the king of Norway and a formidable warrior. He fought in the Byzantine Empire's Varangian Guard before claiming the Norwegian throne. Harald's experience in the Varangian Guard, where he served as a commander, provided him with valuable military expertise and wealth. His reign in Norway was marked by efforts to consolidate royal power and expand his territory. Harold's invasion of England in 1066, driven by his claim to the English throne, ended in his death at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. This event marked the decline of Viking influence in Europe and the end of the Viking Age. Rollo, a Viking leader who became the first Duke of Normandy, played a crucial role in the integration of Vikings into European society. Granted land by the French King Charles the Simple, Rollo and his descendants, the Normans, significantly influenced European history. The Treaty of St. Clair-sur-Epte in 911 established Rollo's control over the region of Normandy, where he and his followers adopted Christianity and assimilated into Frankish culture. Rollo's legacy continued through his descendants, most notably William the Conqueror, who successfully invaded England in 1066, forever altering the course of European history.